As a special treat for this episode, we have decided both Kelsey and I are going to be invisible. We are invisible right now.
We just recreated the experiment. It was actually pretty easy.
All we did was get some steam, put some ginger fizz
and sugar,
and that's all it takes to get invisible.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. We'll fix our invisibility by midnight, so it'll be fine.
We're gonna be fine. We're not gonna stay invisible forever, but we thought to give the true experience, we're both invisible right now.
Welcome to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm Benji.
I'm Kelsey.
We're the DCOM Duo.
This is the DCOM Duo.
We watch DCOMs.
Yeah, that's kind of a big part of our personalities, at least mine.
I mean, we both spend, it's like a day a week of our lives that is at least partially dedicated to Disney Channel original movies at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many years have we been into DCOM? Since 2020.
Yeah. We were into it as kids too.
Well, I meant like this dedicated, but yeah, no, as kids, obviously we watched some. And then during the pandemic, we're like, let's just watch them all the time.
And that's how it happens, you know? Once you start, you can't stop.
Once you're like 50 deep, you kind of can't stop.
Like, what are we going to do? Stop a marathon and like 60 movies in? No, at that point, you have to finish.
And now we get the fun fact of, hey, I've seen every single Disney Channel original movie.
And soon we'll be able to say we did it twice.
Yeah.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Anyway, let's get to the movie we're actually talking about this week. We're talking about Invisible Sister.
Basically, the plot of the movie is they're sisters and one of them is invisible.
Holy crap.
And shenanigans happen. But in the end, it's a heartwarming story about sisterhood.
Also, it's on Halloween.
Yeah, it's a Halloween movie.
It's kind of weird.
It is one of the least Halloween-feeling movies.
But they talk about Halloween a lot.
Yeah.
It's just like this could have happened not on Halloween.
It's what I would want in a Halloween movie, honestly, where it's just like that Halloween gives you an excuse to watch it every year if you want to. But also, it's just a movie that takes place on Halloween. It's Die Hard.
Yeah. Where it's like, people are like, it's Christmas. And it's like, this literally could have happened on any day of the year. Mm-hmm. And it's still the same movie. Why is it Christmas? Why is it Halloween and Invisible Sister? But like, I feel totally fine watching it not in October. It's not like, it doesn't feel out of place.
It's not a movie like, I'm not even going to say Halloween Town, because Halloween Town does feel like Halloween, but it also is a magical world that technically can work whenever. It's not like, I'm trying to think of the most Halloween-y DCOM.
It has to be Halloween Town. It just has to be. It's literally a town for Halloween.
It has Halloween in the name.
Yeah. There's like Scream Team. That's pretty Halloween.
But that's not. Yeah, it's pretty Halloween.
There's Phantom of the Megaplex. Is that technically a Halloween?
I think that is technically a Halloween.
That one is like the least, even more than Invisible Sister.
Gold vs. Monsters only a little bit. The Under Wraps films.
Oh, those are pretty Halloween-y. Is it on Halloween though? I remember they said like the fall festival, right?
I think I don't know. I don't want to talk about that movie. Under Wraps is
not good.
It's mid.
Any of its iterations.
It is mid across the board.
Okay, we're getting off topic again. We should talk about Invisible Sister.
Yes. All right. Should we get into some fan mail?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Did we have any fan mail?
I think we did.
Oh.
You want to find the email?
Yeah, I did not think we did. So
it's about our mini-sode. Or did we read that one already?
No, I don't think we read this one. All right, it's from my mom. Once again. She said, I listened to your first mini-sode. It was my first time ever to listen to a mini-sode podcast. I learned a new word. Mini-sode. Yeah. If you didn't know, we did a mini-sode where it's just basically 30 minutes of us talking about the first 10 movies we watched in the podcast.
Yep.
It doesn't automatically go out to everyone's subscriptions. I don't know.
No, because I listed it as a bonus episode, so I'm not surprised if you missed it.
But it's pretty fun. We did some drafts in there as well, which my mom goes in. She learned the term draft and the way we used it. That wasn't about pro sports. Boomer's learning a lot, and you two laughed a bunch in this process. I really liked our mini-sode. It was fun. We did. We both drafted characters who deserve spin-offs.
Yep.
And it is just
like wildest moments.
Wild moments.
Yeah. It's fun too that, you know, your mom and potentially other listeners learn that you can draft things that aren't sports.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the same like kind of process of, you know, you're drafting new players for your team. We're drafting DCOM characters / moments for our theoretical teams.
Pretty fun.
For like wildest moments. So yeah, no, it's another way to use the term draft. It's fun.
And then she agrees with me as being still a bitter Vikings fan about the 2009 New Orleans Saints. I can't even remember when I started ranting about that in that episode, but I fully agree with whatever I said there.
Cool. I already kind of didn't like the Saints, so it's cool that there's another reason to not like them.
All right. So that's fan mail. Once again, if you want to have your message read out or just want to send us a message and tell us not to read it out, but just want to send us up, let us know. You can just email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com. That's thedcomduo@gmail.com.
Why didn't you spell Gmail?
If you don't know how to spell Gmail, it's Gmail. Period.
COM. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to be very clear this time because we got to get some messages in there.
Yeah.
All right.
So, slight announcement, not really. Just heads up about this episode. We're switching it up a little bit this week. I don't know if you can tell if my voice sounds really different, but I'm sick this weekend that we're recording. And it's Benji's fault. So blame Benji. He was mildly sick and got me sick. So to give me a little bit of a break, not only from like thinking, but also from talking, Benji's running this episode this week. He did the notes. He's going to lead us through the discussion, and he did the factos. So
yeah, if you hate how this is formatted, it's probably only going to be for this week. If you love how this is formatted,
then we can switch it up.
We can switch it up, or you can just not let me know because then Kelsey continue to do the excess work.
If this goes well, maybe we do just take turns. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. If this one is shorter or longer than usual, that's probably a reason why.
Yeah.
All right. With that, I am leading this portion now.
Ooh, you're leading the whole thing.
You ready for some DCOM factos?
I am. I'm excited to kind of sit back a little bit more this episode.
All right. So we got Invisible Sister. That's the film today.
Yep.
It released October 9th, 2015.
Okay.
I realize you normally say what number DCOM it is. I didn't write that down.
Oh, well, just look at the Wikipedia list that you have. It is the 99th DCOM. Wow. 99.
99.
Yeah.
The next one after it, Adventures in Babysitting, was the 100th.
Was the 100th, yeah.
So, yeah, pretty late into the process. It's a pretty recent DCOM.
Yeah. I was 16 when that came out, so I was definitely not watching Disney Channel.
Oh, I was definitely off of Disney Channel.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know Teen Beach existed, and
I did watch Teen Beach. Probably not that. I think I was more like 17 or 18 when I watched Teen Beach movie, because I had a younger cousin that said it was good, and I'm like, I like musicals, so I watched it. So that was like probably one of the later ones of my like teenage years that I watched. You know, like I was past Disney Channel, but I still watched that one. Never watched Invisible Sister or anything. So yeah, it was a new experience when we watched it the first time.
Mm-hmm. All right. The director of Invisible Sister is Paul Hohen. Okay. You know that name?
No.
He is quite possibly the most prolific DCOM director.
Wow.
That's a slightly bold claim because I've not done enough research. He's done 16 DCOMs.
Holy crap.
Which is over 10%. Like, that's almost...
I don't think he's going to get beat. I don't even think, like, Kenny Ortega is going to beat that.
Well, no, I don't think Kenny Ortega's directed that many. Like, he's done a lot.
Well, he did, like, the High School Musicals and Descendants.
Yeah.
So that's 6.
But I think that's it for him.
Well, yeah, High School Musical 3. Did he direct that one? I don't actually know.
I don't know. But, yeah. I counted that up. He did that. First off, for this film, he got a nominee from the Directors Guild of America for children's programs.
Oh, awesome.
So for this one especially, he was considered doing well. Yeah, since 2001, he's done 16 DCOMs. The first one he did was Luck of the Irish. The most recent was Zombies 3.
Holy crap, so he's still around.
He's still around. He's done a lot of kids' TV show like episodes as well, but like, it seems like his main career thing is doing Disney Channel original movies.
That's so cool. I'm so glad that there's a like an infamous kind of director. I didn't even know he kind of existed or did that many.
Yeah.
Can you fire off the ones that he did?
Give me 1 second. I will say this, is, I think, very mixed in terms of his quality. Some are good and some are not good.
He's a wide variety.
Yeah. I don't have a list where it just gives that, so I gotta scroll up through these. All right. Firing them off. We got Luck of the Irish, True Confessions, You Wish, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off, Read It and Weep, Jump In, Cheetah Girls One World, Dad Napped, Camp Rock 2, Let It Shine, Cloud 9, How to Build a Better Boy, Invisible Sister, Zombies, Zombies 2, Zombies 3.
Fun. Oh, so he's just the Zombies director.
Yeah.
That's awesome. There's some bangers in there.
No, there's some good films, and there's also some bad films. Ones. It's really a mixed bag.
That's so cool.
It's kind of interesting to think about.
That's so exciting. Okay.
Yeah, he's also done like a lot of Andy Mack and some other TV shows. He's done a lot of episodes.
He's just a Disney Channel boy.
Yeah.
Nice.
He is basically his entire IMDb. It's just kids shows and movies.
Nice.
A lot of Nickelodeon and Disney Channel.
Oh, he did Nickelodeon too.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. Now for the cast.
All right.
Cleo, the main character, the one that's not invisible,
right,
is Rowan Blanchard. She was the star of Girl Meets World. She
was next to Sabrina Carpenter. Yes. They were both
main characters, but
not that I watched it.
Officially, she's the top billed.
Oh, she is? Okay, yeah. I never actually watched it, but from my perspective, from my vibes, it seems like they're both the main character.
I think Sabrina Carpenter became a bigger star.
Oh yeah.
So that's why you probably think,
there's the whole
even, but I'm pretty sure she's the main character. I'm pretty sure she's the girl in Girl Meets
she's
World.
The girl. Yeah, well, Sabrina Carpenter had all the Olivia Rodrigo drama. So yeah, there's that.
She is currently a main role in Snowpiercer.
I don't know what that is.
It's a pretty popular TV show. It was on TNT. I think it's moving to something else.
Okay.
It's based on a film the director of Parasite made back in 2010 era.
Wow.
But I don't know everything. It's like a post-apocalyptic world where all of humanity is just on a train that goes in a circle.
Okay.
I don't know too much about it. I might be lying, but we'll see. And she broke through into acting with a role in Spy Kids 4.
Nice.
Which I didn't think I realized there was a Spy Kids 4.
I've never seen any of the Spy Kids, so I wouldn't know.
That is so shocking to me.
Why? Just because it was such a phenomenon?
A, it's a phenomenon. B, it's a DCOM that's not a DCOM. It's on that DCOM era. It would play it on Disney Channel.
I didn't watch that many DCOM adjacents. I don't even think I've watched all of Big Fat Liar. I did watch My Day with the President's Daughter, though, and you didn't even know that one existed.
Yeah, I didn't know that one existed. Yeah, but I'm just saying, I feel like Spy Kids is this thing you would have liked a lot as a kid. And now if you try to get into it, you're going to be like, this sucks because it's not actually good.
You need nostalgia.
Right. Harris Berleck played Molly.
The sister.
Who was invisible. She was the main role in the Disney Channel shows Mighty Men and its spin-off Lab Rats Elite Force.
Okay.
I haven't watched either of those, but I do know of their existence. They went for multiple seasons. Now, past that, she's been mainly doing minor roles in Netflix films and the Netflix sitcom Alexa and Katie, which I only mentioned because it got 3 seasons, and as a Netflix show that I have not heard of, getting multiple seasons is pretty impressive.
Has to. I think the meme, the kind of general knowledge is that Netflix usually gives 2 seasons and then cancels it. So 3 seasons is impressive. How old is it? Is it an older one?
No, it's pretty recent. I believe the last season was 2020.
Maybe Netflix is let's start giving shows 3 seasons, see what happens.
We got Austin Freiberger, who played the Coog.
Oh, I love the Coog.
He really has not been in much of anything. No. Mainly just guest appearances in TV shows. He was in Fuller House for an episode, Sam and Cat for an episode, the iCarly reboot for an episode, but that's it.
So, yeah, he just does some guest stuff.
Yeah, just a couple of random guest stuffs.
I wonder what episode of Fuller House he was in. I watched that show.
You would have to tell me. I didn't look deeper than that.
I guess I'll have to just rewatch all of Fuller House.
That seems like a poor idea.
And just keep my eye out for the Coog.
Ron Brar played George.
Oh yeah.
He broke through as Craig or Chirag. I can't remember how to pronounce it, in Diary of a Wimpy Kid. All the Diary of a Wimpy Kid films.
I know. I definitely have seen this kid. Like
he's also
is he
main role in Jessie and Bunked, which are both Disney Channel sitcoms.
I think Jessie's what I had on my mind, even though like I never really watched Jessie, but I was definitely aware of it. Like I'm pretty familiar with the kids that were in Jessie. Like pretty sure he was in that. So yeah, that makes sense.
He also was a supporting role in a lot of movies. Didn't mention much of them, but I did note Stargirl because I'm pretty sure you either like or despise that movie. Or haven't seen it, but have the opinions on it anyways.
I'm indifferent on it. I like tried to read the book once. I didn't go through it. I think what you're thinking of is we were doing a Quiz Bowl tournament and I got that question right.
Oh, okay.
It was Grace Vanderwall starred in that movie and they mentioned her and that's how I got that answer. It's a pop culture tournament. And it came out that year. So I think you were just kind of impressed that at the moment that I got that. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I've heard of it. I just never watched it.
All right. Next up is Alex Desert. I think is how to pronounce it. It's Mr. Perkins. He's the teacher.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a decently popular actor since the 90s. Has been in a lot of stuff, but like never a big star role.
Yeah.
He had like main roles in the show Becker, which had multiple seasons, the old Flash TV show. He played Nick Fury in one of the Avengers animated shows. He's now on The Simpsons as Carl Carlson and Lou because they changed to a black voice actor for some of the black characters after the George Floyd protests.
They weren't already black actors?
No.
What?
I mean, I think that's not that uncommon in animation.
Okay.
But I don't actually know. But he has been on The Simpsons since then. He was also in DCOM's Let It Shine and Freaky Friday.
Yeah. No, that's where I recognize him. Like, oh, he's been in a few DCOMs. And Freaky Friday, he gets to sing a little bit.
He's got a good DCOM resume, if we're being honest.
They're all good movies. And he does a good job. Like, I think he's a good actor. I think this is probably his least likable character. What was the other one other than... Oh, it was Let It Shine. Let It Shine and Freaky Friday. Yeah. No, I feel like he's really good characters in both of those. And this one, he's kind of a douchebag in the beginning and like redeems himself a little more later. But in the beginning, we'll talk about it, but he like made me mad in the beginning. And
then the other two people that I'm going to mention, I'm going to just go through them quickly. We got Will Myers, who played Carter. He really didn't do that much. He was in a CW show called Naomi last year, but it got canceled after one season. And that is his only like main role of anything.
Wow.
And then there was Rachel Clareau, who played Nikki. A lot of small film or TV roles I didn't know, but she did get 5th place on the first season of The X Factor.
Cool.
So that's how she got into the entertainment industry.
That's fun.
So success story there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now for some fun facts.
Yay, fun factos.
All right. So fun fact number 1. I'm not going to number them all. I found this very funny on its Wikipedia page. It wasn't sourced, but I did scroll through Disney Channel Canada's Facebook page to confirm that this is a real thing. In Canada, when this film premiered, the last 10 minutes of the movie were mistakenly replaced with Teen Beach 2's song, That's How We Do.
The ending song in Teen Beach 2.
And there was like no resolution or anything until the next day when they fixed it and aired it again.
That is so funny.
Just imagine you're watching a movie and it's getting to the ending and you want to know how it ends and everything, and it just cuts to a different film's ending.
How do you even make that mistake?
I don't know.
I don't even know how that's possible because you're airing a movie. I don't know how TV works.
Yeah.
You're airing a movie and all of a sudden you go to a different movie and it's Teen Beach 2's final number and you're just like, wait, what the fuck happened to the movie I'm watching? That's hilarious.
No, it's very funny. I'm like, that sounds fake, but I scrolled through the Disney Channel Canada Facebook page because that's where it was linked. And they like in the comments under watch this movie, it's like, we apologize for the technical mishap tonight.
Oh my God.
All right. Another fun fact, it's based on a book called My Invisible Sister by Beatrice Collin and Sarah Pinto.
It's called My Invisible Sister.
Yeah.
Not just Invisible Sister.
The book, actually, I really didn't look into it. I just saw the back of the book description. I didn't go like you and hardcore sleuth for details on the plot.
The only reason I did that for Proof Point is because it said at a twist ending. And I'm like, what the? I need to know.
But it looks pretty different. Like, I'm pretty sure the main character is a guy, a boy, like a 10-year-old boy.
Oh.
And the sister is just invisible, period. And they just go on shenanigans because she's invisible.
Like she was born invisible?
I don't know. I didn't look.
What did the back of the book say?
It was just saying, it's like, 10-year-old boy, blah, blah, blah. But life's not too bad when you got an invisible sister to go do some hijinks with.
Weird.
Stuff like that.
So, okay, if it's that different, is this really based on that book? If the concept is your sister is invisible?
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like that's a pretty basic.
It's a pretty basic concept.
They didn't even keep the same exact name.
No, I don't know. And then the final fun fact is, who got a little sister and cast and written into the story?
Oh,
and was cut for unknown reasons.
She wasn't really needed, probably.
Probably.
They had enough characters, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a short movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty short movie.
It was under 90 minutes.
Yeah, it was under 80 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. It was
That's
like
so
an hour
weird.
19.
If you had asked me, like, what are the shortest DCOMs, I wouldn't have guessed that this one was that short.
No, but it doesn't, like, feel rushed either.
No, it feels pretty bookended. Like, they did all the plot points they needed to do.
All right, now for the Disney Plus description.
Yay.
On Halloween, misfit Cleo inadvertently turns her beautiful and popular older sister Molly invisible when a science project goes awry. As a result, Cleo reluctantly must agree to impersonate Molly during a crucial day at school, even as they try to reverse the invisibility. By working together and walking in each other's shoes, sometimes literally, the sisters learn to overcome their differences and find they have more in common than they ever expected.
Yeah, that's the movie.
It's very kind of cheesily written.
Sometimes they literally have to walk in each other's shoes. Get it?
Yeah, I do get it. All right. And with that, I have a deep dive?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So the movie opens up, it says it's a Disney Channel original movie, and it opens on a monarch butterfly.
Yeah, and it's like super zoomed in.
Mm-hmm.
I found it kind of creepy.
Yeah, I don't get it, especially because later on it's all about getting a moth.
Well, because she's voicing over like some things are invisible and some aren't. I think the butterfly is supposed to represent Molly, the social butterfly, and Cleo is the moth that camouflages herself into the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a metaphor.
Yeah, it starts off with voiceover from Cleo, just kind of going through, man, I feel invisible, but not actually saying that, but basically saying that.
Yeah, she's being very dramatic. Like, this is in her personal journal of, like, emo poetry, probably.
Mm-hmm. And then you just basically watch her going to school, and they're going to school. Yeah. She puts on headphones in class as lectures going on, and they're like over the ear headphones, not like earbuds.
Yeah, it's very obvious that she's wearing headphones during class.
And then that leads into basically the start of the movie, where she falls asleep in class and gets woken up by her teacher.
Yeah, everybody leaves and she's like sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She just flat out slept in the class with the headphones on, rocking out to both highs. The teacher thinks it's fits in the tantrums, which I think this is funny to add in these, like, these bands I feel like are fun choices for the time. They're actually like modern-ish bands.
Yeah.
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 I can imagine the kids listening to it, but it's still just kind of funny because I always think of Fizzles and Tantrums as the hand clap band, even though they definitely have more than that.
Oh, I don't know any other ones.
I could play them for you, and you have known. I remember at one point we had a night, the two of us were just like, what other songs do the Fizzles and the Tantrums have? And we're like, wow, these other songs are actually pretty good.
You just never think of them.
No. Like, I don't even think Hand Clap's technically their biggest song.
I can make your hands clap.
I don't remember what it is, but I believe that's not their most popular song. Yeah, but even while her and the teacher are arguing, like, man, you slept in the class, and he's like, here's your test back. You got 100%, you genius. Yeah,
so she's so smart that she can just sleep during lecture and still get 100% on, like, her quiz or whatever.
And she wants to go make a A vegetable battery or a squash battery?
No, I thought she was doing a papaya, and she's like, "Well, mine's a fruit, okay, so it's different."
I didn't catch that part of it, but
yeah,
they have a big science project coming up, and that's her plan. And the teacher's like, "No."
Yeah, he's like, actually, I'm not gonna let you do the idea you had for this project, which we're assuming that the science project is like, do whatever you want, just as long as it's science. But he's like, I'm rejecting your idea. And she's like, you let, what's his name?
You let George just do dairy on guinea pigs and let them fart.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So she said his experiment is that he has a guinea pig and he's putting him on like all ice cream diet. That guinea pig should be dead, right?
Yeah, maybe guinea pigs have, I don't know, lactose intolerance among other animals. I know it's rare for humans to be able to have other animals' dairy products, but I don't know if dairy, we don't know the amount of dairy he's giving them.
But it's also like all the sugar. And if he's only eating ice cream, doesn't he need like nutrition?
Look, we don't know the formulations of this experiment. It might not just be dairy.
I'm going to Google, can guinea pigs live off of ice cream?
I don't think that's going to give you the most obvious answer.
Guinea pigs cannot digest ice cream, leading to health problems, is the first thing that came up. So I'm going to say he killed his guinea pig.
Well, the guinea pig survives through the whole film. Yeah. The whole film takes place in 2 days, so.
Yeah, well, I think his experiment's over. He's just like, yeah, it made him fart.
Yep, that's it.
But the teacher's like, yeah, well, I'm going to give you a different experiment.
Yeah. He says go like make a spectrometer and make like one thing into another thing or something. I don't know.
He holds up like a dark thing, or he's like in a piece of glass. He's like, this one is clear and this is kind of like glass, but it's not, it's dark. I need you to make this into a clear substance, which seems like super advanced
for high school science.
Yeah. But he's like, this is actually what you're doing. And she complains later. She's like, he's making me do this basically impossible task with super high-tech equipment. What?
Also, it's due Monday.
Also, it's 50% of your grade now.
Yeah.
He said, I just decided it's 50% of your grade. Whereas you're assuming that like no other kid's project is 50%. I think it's because she's doing so well and not paying attention. He's like, actually, this is right on a lot. I'm going to have you do this impossible task. And if you don't do it right, you're going to fail. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. This should not be allowed.
No, this is very bad. And he apologizes for it later on.
Yeah, but right now I'm like, fuck this teacher.
No, but yeah, it's bad because I'm more mad about the due Monday thing. I get why the 50% is there, but that could also him just being like trying to really encouraging it while not actually having any basis to the claim. He may be able to back down on that. The due Monday thing seems impossible to back down on. And Monday, for what we don't know what day this movie takes place.
I'm assuming right now it's Thursday. The day she's invisible is Friday.
That's what I guess is too.
Because it's Halloween. Not that would make it a Friday, but they have this party, and we know it
runs to midnight.
Past midnight.
So it's probably not a school day. Otherwise, the school would not be happy with.
No, it's definitely like school funded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we assume that it's Friday, that gives her what? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Thursday night to make it 3.5 days to start a whole new science experiment.
To do this like impossible task.
Yeah. So that seems kind of bad.
Yeah, and it's worth 50% of your grade.
Yep. But now she's got to do that. So then she leaves the class along with George, and they're just walking out of school because school day is over. And yeah, George says the project's not impossible, but she's still kind of mad about it.
She's just complaining about how difficult it's going to be, which it will be. So I'm fully on her side.
Yeah. She makes fun of his pants because their relationship is she makes fun of him and he takes it like a champ.
Yeah, she's very kind of like, I don't know, emo. Like she has that kind of dark vibe. She's not fully emo.
Well, yeah, Jock calls her a vampire in the very next line.
Oh yeah, he's like, you vampire, and she's like, what? Because I'm
so creative.
Yeah, because I'm dressed like this. Because I have that purple streak in my hair.
Cleo has very classic DCOM energy in terms of she's a character that is entirely fueled by stereotypes, but makes fun of those stereotypes as you can't judge me by these stereotypes.
Yeah. She's like, I'm too cool for everybody.
But like when they were written, they wrote her stereotypically.
Yeah.
So
she's the classic like outsider, smart girl, doesn't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Basically just has George.
She's the non-plastics in Mean Girls.
Yeah.
But
instead of being artsy, she is just smart.
Yeah.
And like science.
The nerd side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Carter walks up to her and is like, hey, can we go study for the next test together tomorrow in the study hall?
Yeah, and Carter, like, he has a Letterman jacket on, so you just know that he's a sports boy.
Yeah. He is clear jock sports boy. And she goes, no, because it would be way too cliche for the sports nerd the science nerd girl to go help out the jock boy.
Yeah, because she like looks over his shoulder and sees the other jock guys kind of laughing or like, you know, kind of pointing like, oh, look at those two. So she assumes that it's like a setup or that he's just using her for her brains.
Yeah.
So she goes like, no. And you can tell he's like offended because he just wants to hang out.
He literally just wants to hang out.
He was being genuine.
We figure this all out later, but no, he's being a jerk. And she doesn't really drop this for a while because she's so... Really, her big problem right now is she lacks self-confidence in every way.
She just pushes people away instead of opening up herself.
Which, at that point, like, at what point do I go beyond, like, oh, she's being a jerk too? Oh, that's like her character. She's being a jerk because that's the character. But, like, she's being a jerk.
They kind of say, like, that is just kind of who she is. She's just kind of a jerk generically. Because George, it's when Molly's pretending to be her. And he's like, why are you being so nice?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't you. You're supposed to be mean to me.
All right. But yeah, it's also revealed in this conversation that yes, Cleo has a crush on him.
Yep.
So
she does.
Like, he's trying to basically ask you out.
Well, it's a defense mechanism because she doesn't actually believe that he would like her.
I know, but it's just
yeah, I know.
The sister shows up. They're driving up. Yep. Molly's here and she's like, hey, we're gonna go get Froyo. You guys want to come get Froyo? And the kook's like, oh yeah, and that boy can come too. First off, the kook never remembers George's name. That's just like a running gag. But we love the kook. This is a very pro kook podcast.
It's just because he's dumb. Not because he's mean.
We like the himbos a lot.
He's like fully like inviting them too.
Do you want to explain what a himbo is for our audience? Sure.
I can explain what a himbo is. There's 3 requirements to be a himbo. 1, you need to be a beefcake. You gotta be good at like athletically, you know, muscles for extra points. The kook doesn't have like big muscles,
but we know he's sportsy.
Yeah. 2, you need to be dumb. You need to just have like no brain cells in there. And 3, you need to respect women. You can't be mean, especially to women.
Yeah.
You got to be a nice guy that's athletic and stupid.
Many people hit 2 of these requirements, but not 3. The kook is a triple threat.
Yeah, imagine a golden retriever as a boy.
That is what a himbo is.
Yeah. Except golden retrievers are usually pretty smart.
They're usually pretty smart, but like compare a golden retriever's intelligence to like a human's.
Yeah, just like they want to please you and they'll just kind of do anything to do that. You know? They don't have original
and thought. They don't discriminate on genders. Cleo says, no, we're not going to go to Froyo.
Yeah, she says no.
Yeah, this is not going to be an emotional moment of lost bonding later or anything. Haha. But yeah, they drive off. Kook gets high fives to people outside the convertible.
Yeah, because the top's down, and that's what Molly drives.
And that's just Kook to a T.
Yeah.
He sticks his head out because he's a golden retriever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But then George and Cleo go back to Cleo's house. Well, they go on his scooter to go back, but the scooter runs out of battery, so they just have to walk back.
Yeah.
So ultimately, Molly beats her home, even though they went to get Froyo.
Yeah, because they were just walking. Probably a while to walk. Yeah.
The parents, we finally get to meet them. And this is the only time you get to meet them in the whole movie.
They like show up for a scene at the end, but they don't talk anymore.
And basically, the parents, I'm not going to even try to characterize them at all because they do not matter.
No.
The entire point of them being here is to say, hey, they have 2 alive parents and they are leaving for the weekend.
Yeah.
So we know why they don't have to hide from their parents or talk to their parents about everything going on.
Yeah.
They need to be out of the plot for this plot to make sense. And the movie goes very quickly through just, no, they're done.
Yeah, I think it's just, we don't want to have to deal with the avoiding the parents plot. So we'll just write them out. Like, that's not the point of the movie.
And it's fine.
So, yeah, so let's just get them out of here.
It does make them look like pretty bad parents, if we're being honest.
Not that bad. Like, they say, you know, Molly has a big lacrosse game tomorrow, but they're like, we're so sorry to be missing it.
And also, Cleo, stay loose with your studies. And
yeah, they don't know.
Takes extreme offense to that.
They don't know how to really relate to Cleo right now because she is so closed off. And they have this like moment where they don't realize that she's there at first because they're like, oh, you're invisible, Cleo. Like, that's the point they're trying to make. But they're trying. Like, you know, they just have to go away to do, I don't even know what they're doing.
I don't know.
I didn't catch it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And then right when they leave, Molly's like, oh, by the way, I'm having a huge party.
Yeah, and Cleo's like, I have to work on my science project that's worth 50% of my grade and it's due Monday. And Molly's like, it'll just be a few people, like the entire lacrosse team and their boyfriends. And I don't know, I guess other people too.
Yeah. So there's just a huge rager going on. Yeah. And that's what we cut into.
Yeah.
It's party time.
Party time.
The Coog is in the kitchen trying to make meatballs. He doesn't remember what goes in meatballs, but luckily Molly's there to remind him that meat goes into meatballs.
She's such a supportive girlfriend.
Cleo is just in the middle of this party, like in a different room from everyone else, but there's party going all around her. She's just doing hard science.
Yeah.
She's doing safety glasses, pouring stuff into beakers and stuff like that. George is there too, just being supportive.
Yeah.
But he's like, hey, can I go party? I want to go party.
Yeah, Cleo's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll just be doing science.
And George's like, I'm going to go see if there's any girls on the lacrosse team that like me. Because I'm going to go flirt with everyone.
Yeah, he really just wants a girlfriend really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, I respect the grind. Respect the hustle.
When did you ever grind for a girlfriend?
I did. But I should have. Like,
you could have, you should have. You didn't grind for me very hard.
No. Just gotta let it happen.
Yeah. It took a year. And guys, if you just let it happen, it might happen in a year.
What a great moral. Oh, yeah. And, like, the whole beakers and everything is shaking all together because just the base of the party and everyone jumping. Jump, the house is jumping.
Jump, the house is jumping.
It's all going wrong. George goes upstairs, starts flirting with Nikki.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awkward, but like, yeah.
But also she's kind of into it. Like, it is awkward, but it's not like she's appalled by him or anything. Because she's a sweet girl, and he's not saying anything offensive.
And they end together. Spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a C plot of the movie is those two getting together.
Yeah, it is very minor.
Yeah. And that means that the only person in the lab is Leo.
Yep.
And there's a moth. Oh no. She's like studying all this sugar, glucose, her fancy computers, graphics.
Oh yeah, she figures
really fancy.
She figures out that it's sugar.
Yeah.
But she makes it work. She turns it clear, finally. Because she like heated it up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She was doing science and she actually did it the first night she worked on it. So I guess it wasn't actually that hard.
Yeah, maybe it was super easy. Maybe we don't know the teacher well enough.
Maybe it just seems really hard on the surface, but he gave her sugar.
But also, what she does next is just insane. She makes a bug invisible on accident.
Yeah, so some stuff spills into the solution, right?
Yeah.
And the moth flies above the steam and becomes invisible.
Yep.
And she like catches it in the jar and then freaks out because it turns invisible and so drops the jar and the jar breaks. And then more stuff spills.
Yep. And the bug starts to fly around the house. So she just grabs this giant bug catcher net. I don't know where she got that in that room.
It was just like I think she's kind of in like a shed or something. Because she said, like, I got exiled from my house. And George is like, you didn't really get exiled. There just is a party, so you left. Like, he's always looking at the brighter side of things.
And George is very true about that, where it's like none of them would be that mad if she was at that party socially. No. Because this is a movie that does a better job of actually describing social situations in terms of it's not the cliches that everything thinks it falls into in most films like this, most DCOMs, most social circles. It's more of like oh, you're also here? Okay.
Yeah, no, I really liked that this movie didn't fall into the trope of, oh, the sister's super popular and wants nothing to do with the little sister. It's more so the little sister was getting in her own way.
Yeah.
And the popular girls would have been accepting of her the whole time if she just gave it a chance.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that they took that angle on it.
Yeah. So with this giant bug catcher, Cleo just runs around the party swiping at nothing. She's like, George, do you see that moth? It's invisible. And George is like, I don't see it because it's invisible.
Yeah, how does Chloe see it?
That's a good question. Light refraction, I don't know. Maybe it's not perfectly invisible, but it's like still it's weird. She does like always have an eye on it, which doesn't really make sense.
And like we can see it because they give like enough of an outline to show us where the moth is. So I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what occurs over there. There's like it flies around the chandelier and I'm like, oh, this is totally gonna end in the chandelier landing on them, but no,
it didn't.
No, nothing got broke. This is a very rare house party at the beginning of a movie where there's no mess left at the end.
Right, and they leave at a very reasonable time, so they get to bed by midnight. I'm assuming everybody left at like 11.
Yeah, who is even starting a fire in the kitchen, and that's not important at all to the rest of the movie.
Well, yeah, he did start a fire.
And eating the meatballs is, but like all the issues that are going on that could cause huge messes to be cleaned up, zero problems.
Yeah.
None. Like everyone must have helped clean up, honestly.
It's a school night. They're like, yeah, we'll leave at a reasonable time. We have school tomorrow.
I don't think there was underage drinking.
No, they had like solo cups, but that could have been anything. That could have been soda.
Yeah, which is just, it's weird. Yeah. I feel like maybe it's because it's on the Disney Channel. They don't want to show any of the rager.
Yeah, it was not a red solo cup, which is the very stereotypical. This is alcohol. It was like yellow or something. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. George, after the party, we're done with that. Is like, you didn't really make a moth invisible, probably. I don't really believe you. Go sleep.
Yeah, she's like, do you believe me, George? And he's like, I believe you should get some sleep. So
George is also pretty positive because he's always positive, even though he's like, I completely struck out.
Yeah, he did strike out with Nikki, huh?
Well, just with everyone.
With everyone. He's like, I got a ton of girls' digits. And Cleo's like, no, you didn't. And he's like, yeah, no, I didn't.
I put my number in someone's phone when they weren't looking.
Was it Nikki?
I don't know. I don't think it was Nikki. I think it was someone. I don't know. But yeah.
That's just an invasion of someone's privacy and property.
Yeah.
Oops.
So, yeah, that's the end of that. And now it's bedtime. The girls are just in their own rooms doing their own thing. And Molly's like, man, I gotta go get my nighttime thirsty drink.
Which is some ginger fizz. Is this a real thing?
I'll Google it. Yes. I feel like I've heard of this.
Ginger?
The ginger fizz they have in there is definitely fake because it is so not branded.
Ginger fizz recipe. So, yeah, it seems like maybe it's used more for cocktails.
No, that makes sense. It makes something carbonated if you want it to be carbonated.
Yeah, so she has a little packet of like this powder that you pour in water.
Yep.
And it's supposed to.
That is a thing.
It's supposed to settle her stomach, which ginger does help settle your stomach.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So she goes to drink it. And we see the moth. Oh.
Yep. She fills up the water in her bathroom, which you said was weird, but I think is extremely normal.
She fills her water cup from the tap in her bathroom.
That's very normal.
No, it's not. Okay, I grew up, my house has well water. It's not like we weren't close to the city at all. So we had well water, which was so full of iron. Like, we could not drink our tap water because it would be gross. So much iron. You have to drink the filtered water that we would have. So like I would never just fill a cup from my bathroom sink.
That's so normal.
Yeah, that's not how I grew up. To this day, I mean, our apartment has the fridge filter water, which is how I grew up. So I'm like, yeah, that's the water I'm gonna drink. I don't drink tap water. Peasants.
Regardless, the moth is attracted by the moth got outside the house. We got to be clear about this.
And I'm like, the moth came back, but they actually kind of explain everything.
Yeah, the moth flew out of the house, but for some reason stayed close. Which sure, why not? Molly got it turned on the bathroom light because you do that when you go into a dark room.
Yeah.
The moth flew in through a window, went to that light because it's on, and moth like light.
Yeah.
Died on the light bulb.
Died? I don't think moths die on impact of a light bulb. Maybe it like ran into it and passed out and then fell into the ginger fizz and died. It doesn't matter if it's dead. Molly drinks it.
Yep.
And I literally said, how does she not realize? But then she like made kind of a face.
Yeah,
like,
she's like, ugh, that tasted weird.
That was weird. But at that point, like, yeah, what are you going to do? You already drank it.
You already ate it.
Yeah.
It's in your body. And also, it was invisible. You're not going to be like, there was something in there.
No, it's like, if you drink something and it's weird, yeah, you're just going to have a weird reaction, but there's nothing you can do about it. So then she just goes to bed. And you see her phone says midnight.
Yeah, it turns from 11:59 to midnight.
Yeah. Which means
put a pin in this. Put a pin.
Put a pin in it. We'll get back to that.
But it is like, so she drank this water like 30 seconds before midnight.
Maybe even like a minute or two.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was before midnight. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I put down here what party ends at midnight, but it is before a school night.
Yeah, no, so. I think it ended at like 11 and she had like an hour before bed.
So how many people were there? There's probably like 50, 60 people there.
Yeah, she was like looking at like homework and stuff. So I think they left like 10:30, 11, like very reasonable. I'm like, dang, good for these kids though.
They're pretty mature.
Yeah. Because they got a game tomorrow.
So it's midnight. She drank the moth. What could ever go wrong? She actually fizzes when she's putting her blinds together. Fizz is invisible for a second.
Yeah.
She goes, that's kind of weird, but she didn't look at herself or anything.
Yeah.
So it's not like she noticed. But she was like, oh, that felt weird.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. In the morning, she wakes up. It's 7 a.m. and she is 100% invisible.
Yep. And she doesn't realize until she sees herself in the mirror or doesn't see herself in the mirror.
She does not notice. She goes and like sleepily grabs her phone, puts on her slippers, puts on like a hair towel, and walks to the bathroom, starts to like get ready to brush her teeth and everything. And looks at the mirror and goes, I'm invisible, and screams in panic.
She doesn't go, I'm invisible. She just screams.
Yeah.
And then Cleo goes to be like, what's wrong? And Molly goes, where did I go?
Yeah. And Cleo's like, what? What do you mean, where did you go? Aren't you in the bathroom? And she's like, but I'm not.
Yeah. And then Cleo goes in and she's like, Molly, where are you? And Molly goes,
are you in the toilet?
She goes, I'm not in the toilet, but she goes, Molly, where are you? And Molly goes, exactly. Where am I?
They do a camera trick here. I want to explain for people that have not seen the movie that whenever it's really something being told or mostly about Molly, they will show Molly in the shot as if she's actually there. However, in all other cases, she's not there. But this way, Molly's actor is not just voice acting the entire film.
Yeah, no, they do like to show the actress there. Just kind of remind you, like, yep,
what she's doing.
This is the actress. This is what she's doing. She's still here. So they'll cut in between the audience being able to see her or her being invisible.
Yeah. It's never confusing on if she's visible or not because
she is invisible the whole time. Yeah.
And then she puts like a towel on her face and tries to remove it to wake up from a dream, but nope, that doesn't work. This isn't a dream, it's a movie. Yeah. And Cleo goes like, wait a second, I did make a moth invisible.
Yeah.
So did you like eat it or something?
Yeah, well, she's like, did you touch it? Did you eat it somehow? And Molly's like, oh, wait, I drank some ginger fizz last night and it did feel like kind of like a bug.
Yeah.
Went down my throat.
And that was like, oh, wow. They completely figured out what happened really quick.
They did. And then not only that, while the whole like bug thing was happening, I'm like, why did the moth come back? And Cleo's like, hear me out during this part. She's like, hear me out. You had a light on. What if the light attracted the moth back into the house and you had the window open? You did have the window open and then it fell in your drink and then you drank it. And then, yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Actually, that is pretty plausible. So, like, I applaud the movie for getting past my, like, skepticism of like, did that happen? That would never happen. It's like, no, actually, that could have happened.
It is more reasonable than the concept of invisibility, and you have to buy into the concept of invisibility to believe anything in this film. So if your suspension of belief is not extra challenged.
No.
Yeah. And while they're just like, man, what are we gonna do? The kook shows up.
Yeah, the kook shows up, and he's in his bear costume.
He's in his bear costume, and he's like complaining about eating too many meatballs, which is just something that happens the rest of the film.
Yeah, he's like, last night I ate way too many meatballs.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Cleo is at the top of the staircase and is like, what are you doing here? And he's like, we're going to school and we're supposed to be in costume. Where's Molly? She's supposed to be Dorothy because we're all Wizard of Oz characters and I'm the cowardly bear.
He's the cowardly bear, which is just an incredible level of stupidity that I really appreciate.
It is. It's funny that they did that because then like the bear costume comes back in a different way later.
Yeah, it is a present throughout the whole movie, if we're being honest.
Yeah. So he's the cowardly bear and Cleo's like, it's supposed to be a lion. He's like, what? Like, no, it's a cowardly bear.
Yeah. It's funny. I like it. It's a good dumb joke. But the kook hears that Molly speaks in a muffled voice, like, I'm in the bathroom and I'm so contagious. Don't come up to me. And Kook's like, oh, but I want to make sure you're okay. Are you okay? And like tries to go see, but she successfully tells him, like, I'm contagious enough. You can't go see me.
Yeah. So the story is that she's sick.
Yeah.
And then the plan for getting rid of it is that Cleo's like, it'll probably just digest through your system and it'll go away. Like you'll burn it off, metabolism, whatever.
You're going to be not invisible soon enough.
Yeah. Probably. It'll just wear off.
Which is a decent assumption. Yeah. Like no one's made invisibility before, as far as they know.
Yeah.
Which also seems really simple to make invisibility.
Yeah, apparently it is really simple. You just mix a couple of common substances together and
imagine like the military intelligence will really appreciate this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Molly's like, no, I have to go to school today because I have a lacrosse game.
She comes up with like the idea of, man, I'm gonna go dress up in my Dorothy costume.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to school because it's Halloween. If I just dress up in my costume, then maybe I can like hide my face somehow and people just see the clothes and
it doesn't really work because her whole body's invisible.
Yeah.
Also, they do this and explain it pretty well where the clothes also become invisible after a period of time. Pretty quickly.
Yeah, which is weird that happens. So.
Yeah. It's probably because if they left the clothes on, that would be a whole different can of worms.
Yeah, and then she'd have to be naked.
And we don't want to do that, especially for a DCOM.
No. So you're right. It's a fine enough explanation for it being a kid's movie.
Yeah, it's kind of lampshaded a bit where it's just kind of like, there's not much you can do because you don't want to show her not in clothes the whole time.
They say like, they have her say, oh, so whatever I touch is going to be invisible, which isn't true because when she's holding just objects, they don't become invisible. But if she's wearing clothes, maybe it's because it's touching more of her body. The clothes become invisible pretty soon after. Yeah. So, yeah, she's like, I need to go to school today because I need to be in attendance for every class to play lacrosse. And we figured out that she meant today you have to be in every class.
Because if you call in sick for school, they're not going to let you play in a school sanctioned sport after.
No, that actually happened to me once for Knowledge Bowl. One of my teammates was gone from school that day and we had a tournament and he showed up like at the end of the school day for the tournament. And my coach was like, no, like you missed school today. You can't go to the tournament. So he wasn't able to go. And it was kind of a bummer.
Yeah. But I mean, it makes sense.
Like, dude, you should have gone to school.
If you want to be in school activities, go to school.
Yeah, we just joked at first of like, what do you mean? You have to have perfect attendance to be on the lacrosse team. But no, it's because it's an important game today. It's the first game of the season and there's going to be college scouts.
Yep. So. And that's how she wants to get into college. By being good at lacrosse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reasonable for sports kids to be like, I want to play sports in college.
They're trying to figure out what to do and Molly comes up with the great idea. Man, what if you just go as me, Cleo?
Yeah, and Cleo's like, no.
And Molly's like, we totally look the same. They do not look the same. We sound the same. They don't sound the same.
She's like, we're the same height. Absolutely not. We sound the same. Absolutely not. She's like, we have the same skin tone. Well, if you were moisturized more. Rude. They actually do have the same skin tone.
Yeah, no, that one's fine.
Yeah.
And they go, you know what? No, this is still dumb, but they actually do it.
Well, okay, yeah. So Cleo gets in the Dorothy costume and she's like, I still just look like me because obviously we don't look the same. And so they decide that she's going to wear the mask over her eyes, like a masquerade.
Yeah.
Mask.
They call her Mardi Gras Dorothy, and just everyone accepts that, which is just kind of weird.
Because everybody loves Molly so much that they're like, hey, Molly, you want to wear a mask?
I can accept the clothing thing. I cannot accept the fact that these actresses don't look similar enough.
They really don't.
And yeah.
Like, I can believe enough that they're sisters. Sure. You can make pretty much anybody look like siblings.
Yeah.
But I would not buy that everyone's like, oh, yep, that's definitely Molly. It just isn't. But we can just suspend our disbelief. So it's a movie.
Yeah. And then they just kind of like talk. Molly just talks Cleo up and up, like, about like, hey, you can do this, you can be me, you're cute, you're cool, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And Cleo loses her pink streak of her hair.
Oh yeah, you're like, where'd her pink streak go? And I'm like, oh yeah, that was definitely just a clip in that she puts in, right? There's no way it would just disappear. Either she cut it out of her hair or she just took out her clip extension.
Yeah.
She's so edgy.
Then they go and drive to school. They have Molly drive, even though she's invisible, because Cleo doesn't have a license.
Yeah, which, no, fair. Yep. I'd rather have the invisible person drive with their license than the person who doesn't know how to drive a car. Also, why wouldn't they put the top down? Or the top up, sorry. Why wouldn't they put the top up?
It's a convertible and they keep the top down, which is really silly, so but whatever. The car stops for like just a stop sign or anything, and a grandma walks up and goes like, just confused faces at it, and Cleo goes, oh, don't worry, my invisible sister is driving.
And then the car drives
She's
away.
She's a good driver. And grandma is just definitely concerned.
Yeah, the car drives away. The grandma's like, what? So, no, that was funny. I like that.
Yeah. Basically, from then on, they move to the school.
Yeah.
We're going into school, and they're actually going to start this whole heist of pretending identity thieved or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I said that very weirdly, but Cleo's gonna be Molly, and shenanigans are gonna happen because of that. Cleo first insults Wizard of Oz, which you took offense to.
She did insult Wizard of Oz. But she was like, Dorothy, like, there's a tornado and she went in a party dress. That is not what happened in Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. She didn't, like, change clothes into this cute party dress. Like, that's just how Dorothy dressed. That little blue dress that she was wearing, that's just her clothes. What the hell, Cleo? She's so judgmental.
Do you think people are like, the book was better for Wizard of Oz?
I've never read the book.
No, I've not either. But I know it was based on a book, but everyone thinks about it as a movie because it was a very pioneering movie.
It was the first movie in color.
Not true, but one of the first.
So it's like everyone thinks that it was when it wasn't?
Yeah, but it's not the first film to have color.
Okay. Probably first popular film to have
it's one of the first big ones. It's right around the era when it was getting color. That's why part of the film's not in color.
Yeah. It's to show the drastic change. Yeah.
But I just started to think, like, I feel like Cleo would be one of the people where it's like the book was better because in that one Dorothy like knew a tornado was coming and just hid out from the tornado. I don't know. Instead of saying a song about it.
Yeah. Anyway, they're at school and everyone just believes that that's Molly. It's working. Yeah. But they have to change their story. Like, Molly, I thought you were sick. Nope, I'm fine. But now Cleo is sick.
Yeah.
And at home. Like, they had to totally flip around what they're doing.
Nikki doubts it, but then ultimately buys it in. And it's like, the costume's hilarious. Mardi Gras makes sense because we're in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, they are in New Orleans. And Nikki's dressed up as Glinda.
Yep. There's a lot of Wizard of Oz characters.
Yeah. A lot of them are kind of weird. I'm like, is that Wizard of Oz? I think the kind of just wacky outfits are going for the Munchkin vibe.
Did you in school have kids dress up on Halloween?
No.
I didn't either. It's always a trope that I'm not mad about because it's fun seeing people in costume.
Yeah.
But people don't really do that.
No. And then, like, in elementary school, we would do a little parade with our costumes, but we weren't allowed to wear them during the school day usually. Usually you bring them and then you change into them to do the parade around the school in your costume, and then you change back out. Like, I don't think we ever wore our costumes to school.
Yeah. So regardless, everyone buys enough that Cleo is Molly. Who goes in for a kiss, and Cleo's like, no. This is going to start a whole arc where the Coog is feeling like he's getting rejected and ultimately broken up with by Molly.
Yeah.
And it's just a whole chain of sadness for him.
Yeah. The whole time he's being like super nice and supportive. And so is Nikki. Like, they're just good friends. There's not like a mean person in this movie.
Yeah, which is again a refreshing take.
It's very refreshing.
That's kind of what this film is. If I had one word for it, it's just kind of refreshing compared to most DCOMs, because it's still absolutely a DCOM under the DCOM formula.
Of course.
Like, it fills one of the three plots that they have very fine. This is the person is more like me than I thought. DCOM.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Of like, we didn't understand each other, now we do.
Yep. But it's one where I feel like characters are actually decently well developed.
Yeah.
That's rare.
That is rare.
For DCOMs in general.
And everyone's nice. I guess this is the OG Popular Girls Actually Nice before Spin came out.
Yeah. Maybe there's a DCOM we're not thinking of that does it before that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Teen Beach, if I can't remember.
No, they're not really in high school.
No.
In Teen Beach movie. So
we'll figure out as we do this podcast if someone else does that. Also, George calls Cleo, actual Cleo, and yeah, it's hard to describe whenever we see
she's
that.
pretending to be Molly.
The only thing I want to point out is George calls Molly hot while looking at Cleo.
Yeah, he's like, you look hot.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, he's like, you look hot, and Cleo's like, oh my god, like it's actually me.
But I'm not going to tell you that. Yeah. Also,
why would you say that to your sister's friend?
I get
or your
at
friend's
this
sister.
point why they don't talk to people about her being invisible, but the further this movie goes along, I want to let you know that they're trying to keep the invisibility thing a secret for as long as possible, and that is just wrong.
Well, they think it's just going to wear out. Also, earlier, Molly did freak out. When they think
it's going to wear out, yeah, I think you keep it invisible. I get that.
Yeah, but earlier, Molly, she was calling someone when they first were back at their house, and Cleo's like, who are you going to call? And she's like, I don't know, I'm going to call for help. And say what? That you're invisible? She's like, you're right. They're going to think I'm crazy. She actually had a number dialed in. It was like 555 something, 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 something. Who is she calling?
The Coog.
She just has this number.
Which memorized. I feel like you can tell the Coog that you're invisible and you should trust him enough. He is your boyfriend, but I digress. It's just something that happens in all these movies, and it's annoying.
Well, she just has to she has to be at her classes. So the plan is just to have Cleo go in her place so that hopefully by the time the lacrosse game happens, she's visible again and she'll be able to play.
Yep.
That's the plan right now, which makes sense. This movie, for, not making sense because it's invisibility and that wouldn't happen. For that premise, it actually makes sense.
It follows its own logic very well.
Yeah.
There are some times when I would disagree with that, but it has its own explanations enough.
Yeah.
It's not something to complain about, but I'm still going to complain about.
Yeah.
All right. Then it's time for the first class of the day. It's geometry, and we find out that Molly did bad on her test.
Oh, do you remember though? Right before they go, Cleo's like, "What's your first class of the day? Conformity 101 or intro to conformity?" And Molly's like, "No, it's geometry." It was such a dig at Molly just for having friends.
Yeah. It's like, what? You participate in society? How curious.
Guess you just like to conform.
Yeah, so Molly's bad at math, and Cleo's like, why didn't you ask me to help? And she's like, you're not the most approachable. Also, go lead pep circle. That's what you do now.
Yeah. No, it was a really good point from Molly of you're not really nice to me. You're not very approachable. I try to invite you to things and
you said no to Froyo.
Yeah. So what? Now I'm supposed to ask you for help with my homework? You probably make fun of me is probably what she's thinking. So it's a nice little, intro to their sister problems that they're going to solve.
Yep. And since it's the day before a big game,
It is the day of the big game.
Yeah, the day of the big game. They go and do pep circle.
For like a whole class period, I guess.
They probably took their study hall to do it.
Yeah, I wonder if they all have study hall at the same time. That's possible.
And Cleo, as Molly, has to lead it. And she does not know what it is because she didn't get any briefer or anything on it. She's like, okay, what we do first is obviously, and then like tries to get the crowd to answer for her. It works pretty well. Yeah, no, she has to start with a group hug and she hates it.
Yeah, Nikki like takes charge pretty well because she's like, Nikki, why don't you lead it? Nikki's like, okay, like because Nikki's so sweet.
Yeah, and then they get to do the circle of trust with the bunny of truth, which is just here, hold this bunny and say something emotionally true about yourself.
Yeah, and everyone will love you and support you,
which is nice and refreshing and good and healthy.
Yeah, they're such a nice team.
Yeah, it's good. Cleo's like told to start first, but she kind of gives it to Nikki to start first anyways. And Nikki says two things of note. Number one, she's talking about like women are strong and Molly, you're a really good friend and I really appreciate and love you.
Yeah, and actual also, Molly hears it too, so it's really cute.
And also weather apps are dumb and we don't want to know what weather is. And people agree with both things, which
she's like, I hate the person that invented weather apps. What?
It's such a hot take for people to be like, yeah.
Yeah. She's like, don't we want to just look out the window and be surprised what the weather is?
No,
I don't. But if you do, just don't have a weather app. It's really easy to avoid them, Nikki. If you want to be surprised, you do you, girl. But don't delete weather apps for everyone else that wants to be prepared. Like, I want to know what kind of clothing I should wear that day. What? Is it going to rain? I would like to know.
Yeah. So then it's actually Cleo's turn. She tries to be like, my dress chafes. That's my truth. But they're like, no, it has to be an emotional truth.
Emotional truth, not a physical truth.
So she gives a whole, like, I feel invisible speech where she's talking, and it's obviously Cleo herself talking, not pretending to be Molly coming up with an emotional truth. But she's like, I don't feel like how she envisions Molly feeling. She doesn't feel seen. She doesn't feel worthy of the center of attention of love, admiration, etc., etc. She's not the girl that everyone thinks. She has a line in there because she's literally not Molly.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks she's Molly.
So she's basically saying, like, as Molly, I have imposter syndrome. Yeah. But as Cleo, she's saying, I don't feel like anyone ever pays attention to me.
And she says, that's my truth, which is also weirdly true.
That's a weird line.
Yeah. Now I wrote that down because I'm like, that's kind of...
That's my truth, which is also true.
She's like, man, I didn't expect myself to actually be right about this.
Yeah.
All right. And while this is happening, like, first, I mean, Molly heard all this, but then goes, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to steal a microscope. I didn't mention this, but they were like, we need a microscope to go study your cells or something.
Yeah, because she's like, I thought I'd be better by now. And Cleo's like, okay, well, to do anything, I need to, like, do some science. So go get a microscope.
Yep. And then now it's the current study hall. I mean, it's just a study hall. And that's the same time for everyone.
Interesting.
My high school did that.
Mine had, like, it was paired up with like lunchtime. So while some people were eating lunch, other people were having their study hall, and there were like 3 different sessions of it.
At my high school, we had what was called Spartan Hour because we were the Spartans.
Ours was called Saints Time because we're the Saints.
Where basically the second period on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday was an hour long study hour for everyone, but that's where like sometimes clubs and stuff would be scheduled to do.
Or you could go
during that hour.
You get help from a specific teacher. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's probably what this is, and that's solving the issues that we had of like why did they all have their pep talks and everything at the schedule the same time.
Yeah, because then George and what's his name, the Carter, they're in the lab, which is probably just where they want to spend their study hall time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And well, he was waiting there because he was like, maybe Cleo will show up because I asked her to come study over here with me.
Yeah. And so Molly is invisible, trying to steal a microscope, and she overhears George and Carter talking.
And he's a scholar student.
Yeah, he did wasn't it like a mayor scholar or something?
Governor scholar, something like that.
Yeah. He's George finds out that Carter's actually like super smart.
Which I think he already kind of knew.
But not to the extent of like, oh shit, you actually did some high depth like research, which is cool.
Yeah. So Carter's like, man, I really want to get with her, but she's like hard to get, and I don't know how she feels about me. And George is like, she kind of has a crush on you, but she's being weird.
Yeah, that's just how Cleo is. She's just weird. And Molly is like freaking out.
Molly is so invested in this, but also holding a microscope. So she's like, well, I gotta like just pretend that it's sitting here, and goes through all those antics. And then eventually she just runs through the hallway holding the microscope and no one notices.
People almost notice, but don't.
Which I feel like that's weird, but okay. Yeah. I feel like someone should have noticed.
It was just a gag of like, oh, look, she's invisible trying to carry stuff around. Haha.
I'll say the visual effects for like objects floating around are pretty good.
They honestly are. I was pretty impressed with this.
I'm guessing it's just like a full body green screen suit.
I think they CGI'd the microscope. And when she was wearing slippers.
They definitely CGI'd the lacrosse ball when they showed that.
Yeah, they definitely CGI'd that. They definitely CGI'd when she was wearing slippers. Like in the morning, you know, those were definitely CGI. Yeah, absolutely. So I think they just CGI'd a microscope flying around. I don't think it was a green.
But regardless, it looks pretty good.
It does.
Yeah. Then we get cut back into the end of Pep Circle where Cleo gets pulled out by Invisible Molly. They're doing a whole massage line. Yeah. And she's really enjoying it.
She is enjoying it. She's like,
she doesn't have to massage anyone because she's in the front.
She's the captain. So they're like, Molly, you go to the front. It's like
who's in the back?
Oh, that's I honestly volunteer to be in the back because I
don't like shoulder massages.
I hate them, and we used to have to do them in choir. Like we would just line up, you know, as part of our warm up, and I hated it. But I was too like socially anxious to say I don't want to be a part of it, so I would just deal with the pain. But some girls were so rough with it. Because they don't know how to massage. They're just like, oh, I'm sure you want me to go like really hard and deep because a lot of people like that. And I don't. I hate it. It hurts.
Yeah. So that was the end of the Pep Circle. Basically, Cleo and Molly talking. She's like, oh my God, her likes you. And Cleo goes, impossible. Basically. Yeah. No chance a boy like him could like a girl like me. As if she hasn't heard Skater Boy or anything.
What?
She was a girl, he was a boy.
So?
Can I make it any more obvious?
But they're both skater people.
Yeah, they're both nerds.
Oh, okay, you're right. You're right. High School Musical logic. They're in the same clique. She just doesn't realize it because he was already at the end of High School Musical. You can have multiple cliques.
Yeah, he has developed past High School Musical, and she is still in High School Musical. Like
one first half. Stick to the status quo.
Yeah.
And he's in we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And also we learn later he plays soccer, so that's his sport.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that. And then Molly's like, you know what? You go to my next class and I'm gonna secretly go set you up on a date.
Yeah, so she sees Coog. The Coog is running to the bathroom, yelling out. He's like, meatball emergency. He's like, he's either constipated or he's just about to explode because he ate.
I'm guessing about to explode.
Yeah, I think because he probably was constipated because there's a lot of meat. But
we don't need to talk about what poop issues he has. He has poop issues.
It's a poop joke.
He takes off all of his costume.
He leaves it outside of the stall, the bathroom stall.
Which also the stall is extremely disgusting. I think it's supposed to be a joke that men are disgusting, but like, no, that is so bad.
At first, I thought it was like
paper towels everywhere.
At first, I thought it was like Halloween decorations, but no, I think it's just supposed to be nasty.
Yeah.
There's like water on the floor.
It's bad.
Everywhere. It's really bad. Where are the custodians? Like what? But he leaves the bathroom, or he leaves the bear costume outside of his stall, and he's like, "Bros, watch my bear costume." Why didn't you just have it in the stall with you?
There's not a lot of room in the stall, I guess. But it's still dumb.
Under his bear costume, he had a t-shirt and then just like his boxers.
Which is fine.
Why wouldn't he wear shorts?
Well, it's probably too warm in the costume.
Still, sometimes you end up without your costume on because you take it off to poop and then you have to run around in your boxers. So
Molly goes into the boys' bathroom, gets disgusted because it's disgusting in there, and sees a costume and it's like, score! And then steals it, and the Coog's like, wait, who said that? Is that a chick? And
like, no.
She goes, no. I'm just like, okay. So Coog buys Molly being a dude.
Because it's the Coog.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not bright.
So she puts on the costume, and we later learn that it doesn't go that invisible because
it's thick.
It's thick, although it will slowly go invisible still.
Yeah, so she goes back to the lab where Carter and George are.
Wearing the costume, pretends to be Cleo.
Yeah.
So we have a moment where both sisters are pretending to be each other actively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tasha Carter insults George to get his suspicions off because George is immediately suspicious about this activity.
He's like, why are you being nice? And she's like, George, I hate your pants. And he's like, oh, yep, it is you. I thought you were sick. It's like, oh, I'm better now. I'm in a bear costume. And she's like, Carter, we should totally hang out sometime. And Carter's just like, really?
Yeah, let's go to Romp at the Swamp. See you there tonight.
Yeah. And then she has to run away because she's turning invisible.
Yep, and that's it. So now Carter believes they're going to go on a date.
Yeah, and he's really excited about it because he's just genuinely into her. Like, Carter's a good guy.
So after that, Cleo and Molly once again run into each other, and they go into like some office that's unattended, or I don't know what it is exactly, but they just start talking about it. Cleo's like, what? You set me up on a date? No. But George walks into the office and notices them like changing out of the bear costume. And then the gig's up. They tell George, hey, my sister's invisible.
Yeah, well, he sees like a bear without a head. What? And then Cleo's like, George, it's me, it's Cleo. And he goes, no, you're Molly. And she goes, nope, it's me, it's Cleo. Molly is invisible. And he's like, no, what? And Molly goes, yep, it's me. Like, they just kind of have this moment of George having to realize what's going on. And obviously he believes it because she is invisible. So, yeah.
Yeah. All that to say, now George knows, and for the rest of the movie, he's just part of the gang trying to solve the issue, which again, there's no real consequences in telling a couple people.
No, not because now George is helping.
Yep.
And then doesn't the Coog come by? And he's like, where's my bear costume?
He wants to find his bear costume. He forgets George's name again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor George.
And Cleo avoids him more, right? As Molly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And feels bad again. Poor Coog.
Poor Coog is running around.
And now he's running around in boxers. He does find his bear costume later because they just set it out in the hallway.
Yeah, they have like a 2-second scene to show, like, okay, don't worry, the Coog got his bear costume back. Like, Molly just left it in the hallway for him. Yeah. So he's not naked anymore.
But now they're just walking out, and I guess it's the end of the school day.
Yeah, because Cleo's like, let's go home.
Yep.
And Molly's like, nope, it's lacrosse time.
Yeah, but first, the science teacher comes out and talks to Cleo, pretending to be Molly, and it's like, hey, you're Cleo's sister, right? And she goes, yep. And it's like, hey, I want to make sure Cleo's okay. I was being pretty rude about the it's worth half her grade thing. That's pretty ridiculous, and I feel bad about that. I don't want that to be the reason she's staying home. She's really smart, but also she needs to push herself, and that's what I was trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, she's the best student I have, like, that I've ever had. Like,
and I think this is where they should have told the teacher.
You're right.
Give me a reason they should.
Because I mean, it's the H2O syndrome of we don't want to be experimented on.
But at this point, they think it's reversible.
They do.
And they want it to be reversed. They want to be studied on. It's not like an H2O, the mermaid show, where they don't want to be studied on. They are actively doing studies to try and reverse this. Get someone who's smarter than you, or at least has resources to people smarter than you, to be able to be like, okay, we're gonna do this.
Yeah, no, they should have, but they don't.
They don't.
But anyway, this is like the start of the redemption for the teacher. I did like that he said, like, is she okay?
Yeah.
Because I noticed that she wasn't in school, and I want to make sure it wasn't because of me. He's like, I was giving her some tough love, which, like, I kind of get, where it's like, you have this bright student who's not pushing herself, but also she's doing all of the requirements of the class.
Yeah, but it's trying to be an above and beyond teacher, which is fine. It's not something I'm going to complain about. I'm going to complain about they should have told him about the issue.
Yeah, I'm complaining that he should have gone a different direction of his tough love, but I think he learns that.
Yep.
So
Yeah, now it's time to go play lacrosse. So they start off, and Cleo wants to go home and study everything, but it's lacrosse time, so she's got to go pretend to play lacrosse.
Yeah, because Molly's like, the college scouts are here. This is my one chance.
Yep.
I wonder if she's a senior.
I think so. Maybe a junior.
Well, then she would have another chance if she was a junior.
Well, a lot of times it's probably senior. I don't know how the recruiting
Although I
schedules
guess
work,
you
but
kind
it
of
is
want to,
fall.
you do want to get your college in the fall, actually.
Yeah.
But if she was a junior, she'd have another year.
She also can drive, so I don't know
She could be a junior and drive.
Whatever. Not that important to figure out.
No, it's not really important. Basically, she's like, the college scouts are here. They need to see me play lacrosse. Honestly, though, if you're putting your sister in, she's never played lacrosse before.
Yeah, it's going to make you look bad. So I don't really get this plan.
Would you rather look bad or not be there at all?
Yeah. I think I'd rather not be there at all.
I think so too.
Calling in sick.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is the one time the college scouts are here, so I don't know.
Hope that the college scouts come back sometime.
We find out the team is the Fighting Owls, which is an interesting mascot.
It's pretty fun.
She reveals that she drinks ginger fizz every day before the game because she's so nervous she could die before.
Yeah, because
but she loves being a part of a team.
Cleo's like, "Why do you do this?" And Molly's like, "It's hard. Like, I get super nervous, but I love being on my team." And from what we've seen, her team is awesome. Like, they're so nice to each other.
And she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna run around and guide you and tell you everything you should do. We're gonna make this work." Also, if you've never seen people play lacrosse, with the headgear is just basically an eye mask, which is graded eyes. So before, the mask that they had before was also just an eye mask.
Yeah.
But it was one that covered a decent amount of the face. This one, you can see her entire face. I don't get how she doesn't get called out on this.
They also just have they're different heights, they're different builds. Like, they have different bodies, which is just because they're people.
They're very clearly different.
And everyone buys that that's freaking Molly, and it's kind of dumb, but we just kind of have to believe it ourselves.
Yeah, we're just doing a hard time of doing that.
Yeah.
So then we get to find out that Cleo's bad at lacrosse.
Yeah, because she's never played before.
Yeah.
So she gets decked immediately.
She runs the wrong way. She gets decked and she just stays on the ground for minutes after. The college scouts are immediately like, "Oh, she can't go to our college."
She's just laying on the ground and they're like, "Yo, is she okay?"
A trope that I love in high school sports movies where they show the college scouts is any play happens and the college scouts have to react, and they either go and just negatively scribble, or they go and they just are like, "Oh, interesting." Right. Yeah, and it's funny, and these scouts definitely do that. Also, everyone of the 7 characters who have speaking lines in this movie, all of them talk about stuff. They're all cheering for her in the stands.
George and Carter and the Coug are all cheering on. Nikki's part of the team. The girls are playing.
The teacher's there too. I might be wrong about that.
I don't know. Maybe.
But basically, those are the 7 people that talk.
Yeah, so then Molly's like, "Damn, you kind of suck at this. Wait, I have an idea."
Yeah. We need to win this game, otherwise I can't go to college.
Which you had a point where it's they don't need a win.
No, it's literally just individual performance.
So you just have to make Cleo look good. It doesn't matter if you win. That helps. But as long as your individual performance is really good, if you're the top scorer on the team that lost, you're still the top scorer, All
right. So now we're getting into, when we were talking about this movie, basically there were 2 things that we remembered from it. Number 1 was the Coug, because he is an ultimate himbo.
Love him.
And number 2 is them cheating at lacrosse. And that's this next scene.
It's so funny.
Basically, they use the fact that Molly is actually invisible completely to their advantage. She just runs around and tackles random people that are in Cleo's way. So Cleo can just run up and get a goal.
Yeah, so she helps Cleo throw sometimes to give her some more power. And then she goes and clotheslines people, which they don't see coming because she's invisible.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying as a player. Would they not be like, what the fuck is happening?
Also, I think the college scouts would be like, "Man, the team that they're playing against sucks."
The announcer and everybody is just like, "Oh my god, Molly's so good. Look at her."
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. People are just falling over. That doesn't make you a better player just because people are randomly falling over next to you.
Yeah. Everyone is just okay with the freak occurrence of everyone falling over, but whatever. It's pretty funny.
It's really funny
to
watch.
She shoots a ball on the ground and it's just rolling up to the goalie, and the goalie's just ready to go grab it as it comes, and she just punches the goalie over.
Yeah, and then the ball slowly rolls in. Everyone's like, "Hell yeah!"
What an amazing goal!
Yeah,
it's really dumb. And then we get to like a timeout, and it's a tie game, and somehow
it's halftime.
Is it halftime? I feel like it was later into the game than halftime.
I think it was halftime because then she's like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. Like, I can't feel my legs. And Molly's like, I do this all the time. Like, you have to do it for me, please.
What I want to talk about is something else, though.
Oh, what?
Is George going onto the field to talk to Nikki? Yeah. Which he was in the stands earlier.
It's halftime. That's why I think.
Like, he's like, I can use science to help you do good at lacrosse. Is this before or after the point?
That might have been at the end of the game.
No, this is definitely before. It is? Okay. It's definitely before. That's when I've written it. I don't know if this is before or after the fact that George gets told by Molly to like just be himself.
Oh, it's definitely after, because it's when I think he discovers that she's invincible and he's starting to help.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I just want Nikki to talk to me. And Molly's like, oh my God, you have a crush on Nikki? That's so awesome. Cute. That's so cute. She's so sweet. Just be yourself. Mm-hmm. And like, she'll pick up what you're putting down if you just be yourself, because she's so nice. Yeah. So no, Molly's just trying to set everybody up.
Yeah. Molly's cool.
She's great.
Molly's great.
So then Cleo has to give like the halftime. Well, she doesn't have to, I guess. She just kind of chooses to.
Yeah, she's going and giving the pep talk, and it's extremely generic.
Yeah, she's like, guys, I know this is really hard. Like, I can't feel my legs, but we can do this. So let's do it.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, Molly, you're the best.
And then they keep playing and they keep cheating. And then it's like near the end of the game, and for some reason, Molly isn't close enough to go deck everyone in the way, but apparently Cleo's just good at lacrosse and wins anyway.
She does like a bunch of spin moves because she is like, Cleo, it's all you now. Which, how does no one hear her?
She makes a shot, and we see everyone in the cast like make a gasp face as they watch it go into the net.
Yeah, and they win.
The Owls win. Huge. And Molly's like, yeah, let's go. And tries to high five people, but no one high fives her because she's invisible.
Yeah, and you can see, and this is very like real. I'm glad they put this in, that like Cleo starts getting all the recognition. They're like, Molly, and Molly just is kind of sad because she didn't get to play her big game. She's not getting recognition for
tackling all the people.
Right? And she's like, you tell it's starting to toll on her. Like, if I'm invisible forever, this is really gonna suck.
Yep.
So it was a good moment.
So now they go back home and they're like, okay, let's actually figure out this invisibility. Let's figure out the invisibility issue.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, the sugar solution is being absorbed. Oh, guess that means that once you fully digest them off, you're invisible forever.
Because it was actually George was using the knowledge that Carter gave him. Because George was like, why do my guinea pigs fart? And Carter was like, it's because they're not like digesting it properly, so it comes out as gas. And so he helps like work it out with Cleo of like, oh, it wasn't digesting properly or something. It's just like kind of becoming part of her system. I think that was like basically what happened. So basically she's not burning through it. She's not digesting it properly. So she's going to be like that forever. But it takes 24 hours for someone to fully digest something. So that's how long they have. Because they're like, when did you drink it? And she's like, it was midnight. So like, okay, we have until midnight to figure it out.
And they take this just 24 hours language as extreme literal when, that's not how human bodies work. We don't go, oh, my body is going to digest this in exactly 24 hours from eating.
Yeah, like to the second.
Well, that's like what the stakes feel like they are for the rest of the movie.
Of course it's midnight.
That's a big trend in movies, and it's always funny to me because it's just not how life works.
Yeah.
It would be as risky for her to take it like 20 minutes before or after.
Yeah, so basically they're like, we need an anecdote. But she's like, how do we make an anecdote if I don't even have the original substance anymore? Because it fell over. So they're like, well, let's just make the original substance again.
Yep. So you, George, go set up the lab at the school because we need a lab to do this, even though I made it at my house before.
Well, I don't remember why they couldn't do it at our house anymore. Were they just out of the equipment?
Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then the girls are gonna go get them off.
Yeah, they needed them off to like basically recreate the experiment exactly how they did it.
George goes like, "Go Owls," and then everyone's like, "Not the time."
So then they go to the cemetery because Cleo's like, "I know where we can get them off." The cemetery.
It's the darkest place, even though it seems really lit up.
It's really lit up, but it's just because in the movie you want to be able to see them.
Yeah. And they also say, like, we have the brightest light, and it's a really dim lantern. It feels pretty silly, but whatever.
Yeah.
And Molly's like, "Come here, Moth, come here, Moth." And then ultimately, she gets, like, to be physically seen for a little bit.
Yeah, because of the mist.
The mist of the moon, like, formalized around her. So at least if she's invisible forever, that will happen.
Yeah, and she's like, "Am I getting better?" And Cleo's like, "No, it's just the mist kind of forming around you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's starting to realize, oh, I might be invisible forever. That's like really scary.
Yeah, but Cleo's like, "It's okay, we're gonna figure it out."
Which, too confident in this. This is also where you should go and like find someone to contact and get help.
This is the same problem that the Poof Point had.
Oh, it's a problem all these movies have. When kids try and solve an issue bigger than themselves by themselves.
And they're not freaking out enough about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
At least this movie has some freak out. I feel like Poof Point had basically none.
Yeah, no, Poof Point really should have been more severe. This one is a little more understandable because it's like she's not gonna die either. No. She'll just be invisible.
Even if they don't figure out, maybe they can find a different solution to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be worse if they don't figure it out now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get that.
So then they see a moth.
Yep, it's super high up and they're trying to chase it around and it's near a tree, so invisible Molly goes and climbs a tree and swings around the bug catcher and falls in the mud and splashes all over Cleo.
Goop.
This is a goop moment.
It is definitely goop.
It is. I can't count the boys' bathroom being super disgusting because that's not a goop moment.
Nothing splashed on her.
No.
So.
But that was a disgusting moment, and I think this is the only goop moment.
It is.
They both get covered in goop, which allows you to see Molly for a little bit. Just a little bit. So she could always just goop herself if she wanted.
Yeah. What if you just goop yourself? Does the goop turn invisible eventually also like the clothes do?
Probably.
Damn.
I feel like that's an easier replication though.
Yeah, later they used flour, and I think the flour on her turned invisible because that's when she comes back. Spoiler alert, she's not invisible forever. When she comes back visible, she has flour on her, but you couldn't see her before. So I think she kind of throws the flour up later so you can kind of see her figure, but then the flour on her skin turns invisible. So I think that mud would too.
Closed, where it's just like she's still messy. It's just it got turned invisible,
which is really weird. Really weird science magic.
Whatever
that happens, but that's just the lore, and at least they're consistent.
Yep, it's better to be consistent in weird logic than inconsistent in normal logic.
Yeah.
And then they start having a fight.
A minor fight. It's more like Molly is just so frustrated and is like, "This isn't even gonna work. Like, how do you know this is gonna work? Like, if I have to deal with this and turn invisible forever, I'd rather deal with it alone."
Yep.
And you of all people should understand that, Cleo.
Yep. Just leaves Cleo being sad in a cemetery.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a normal place to be sad, but not for this reason.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. It's not easy being your sister, but I am. Like, I'm so sorry how hard it is to be your sister. Yeah. Basically, this is just Cleo saying, being me is not easy, and I'm sad about it.
Oh, is this her, like, big emotional speech?
Basically, we get back-to-back scenes from here on out, where it's just Cleo being like, I'm sad, and I think you're amazing.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's Molly saying, I'm sad, and I think you're amazing.
Yeah, is this when she has her big break, and she's like, I never realized what it was like being you, and, like, I realized that I'm getting my own way.
Yeah, it's like, you're the light, everyone's drawn to you.
And I always
wanted to be the light, but since I wasn't, I took it out on you.
Yeah, I really like when she says, like, I decided to like kind of just say no to everything and
push everyone
away. And it was easier to blame you for it than deal with my inner demons. So I blamed you for it. I blamed your popularity on me not being able to put myself out there. And she realizes that that's wrong.
She's realizing that she's internally blaming her own issues on her sister, and that's bad. And that's a good thing. No, she's like crying, saying, "I should have gone for Froyo." And I find it interesting that she's still framing this all as she's talking to Molly.
Well, she doesn't know
that Molly's there.
No, she's just like, "Molly, are you there?" And then she kind of just starts talking. Pretty
sad if Molly wasn't there.
Yeah. I think she doesn't even really think that Molly is there. She's just kind of letting it all out and finally opening up. And I think when we watched this, someone made fun of the line, like, "I should have gone to throw you." I actually like that line because it's like it's her saying, "I should put myself out there. I should give people a chance."
You were opening the door to me, and I kept closing.
And like that's just the most recent example of just like I should have gone.
Yep.
And I regret not going. I regret not putting myself out there more. And then Molly reveals that she's there and she has the moth in the jar. Yep. So like was she hiding?
But yeah. I don't know. Well, it's easy to hide when you're invisible.
Well, she has the jar. So she just kind of like hide the jar for a bit and let Cleo get it all out and then showed up with the jar.
And she found a moth.
Yeah, she's like, the moth never saw me coming.
You never saw me coming. Yeah. And now they're going to go onto a tram to go home. It's now almost 9. This is where Molly goes basically saying the inverse of what the speech was. Which, yeah. First off, then we have the grandma who saw them in the car. She sees Cleo again and goes talking to herself. And she just runs off the tram.
Yeah, she like waves at her. It's really funny.
Yeah. Molly apologizes to Cleo for making her feel that way and says that she's so jealous of her being a genius when she feels like she struggles in a lot of these things. She gets 100% with her eyes closed, which we joked about how that's actually true because we saw her sleeping in class and receive 100.
Yeah.
So
literally happened.
Yeah. And Molly's like, "I don't have any skills that matter in life," which is oof.
But then I think Cleo's like, "No, like you're really smart, like socially.
You make people happy, you make people want to be better. It's basically a good emotional intelligence conversation."
Yeah. So it's like Cleo is book smart, and I don't want to say like Molly's street smart. She's just like she has very good social awareness and
it's EIQ.
Yeah. She's just really good at making friends.
Is very important.
Yeah.
And Molly absolutely has it.
So they just like need to combine forces and like learn from each other.
So yeah, they run home quickly, unnoted, to go change clothes.
Yeah, because I noticed because it cuts to the next scene where they're at the school and they're in different clothes, and I'm like, did they really just voice over that they changed clothes? And they did. They're like, yeah. We had enough time to go home. Which no, they don't. No, they don't. They're like, we have to get back to the school right now. Hopefully, George has been setting up the lab, and then they get to the school, and George is hiding outside.
So he's probably just been hiding outside the entire
time. They're like, "Oh, we should have enough time because George is going to set up the lab for us." He literally doesn't. He literally is like, "Oh, I can't get in because the security guard is there."
Yep. So Molly goes, "Oh, I can deal with this." Sneaks into the building because they got the guard to open by main.
Oh yeah, she like knocks, right?
Yep.
And then he can't see her.
And then she does a bunch of spooky ghost things. She pushes a cart and makes it roll around. She makes a basketball dribble scarily and bounce down the stairs. I also like that when the basketball was bouncing, it did a piano note every single time it bounced.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. She picks up a can of paint,
which is just laying there.
And they could be paying something.
But why would they just leave it there? It's like after hours. And it's purple, which is fun.
They paints the word boo around and then says boo.
Yeah.
And the security guard runs away.
I thought she was going to have it say run.
Too creepy.
So it just says boo. And then he leaves. Yeah. No, it's pretty spooky.
Yep. And so they get into the lab and really quickly they get the moth invisible again. Like, it's super easy to make things invisible, apparently.
Well, she remembers what she did for the most part. They just have to figure out what exactly got dumped in there. But she can narrow it down because she knows the substance that she had. So, yeah, they get the moth invisible. And they were like, okay, now we need... What do they do next? They're like, we need
they're like, they're like, wow. Okay, so all we have to do is do the inverse of this. Unfortunately, we have to solve organic chemistry.
Oh, right. They have to make the anecdote.
And man, there's only one person in the world that can do that.
Well, that they can get to on short notice. Yeah. Not the teacher, Carter.
They're like, man, we need someone who's like a governor's scholar in organic chemistry. And we're just like,
oh my God. I know exactly.
And they're like, well, we won't know where he is. And Molly's like, I set up a date with him for you.
Yeah, he's literally at the dance right now. He's volunteering there because he said earlier he was going to volunteer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So they got to go to the romp at the swamp.
It's a fun name.
Yeah. So first off, Cleo's like, I don't want to go because then he'll know that I like him. Like, she's still on this. Come on.
And everyone's like, shut up. Shut up,
Especially
Cleo.
Your sister's gonna be invisible forever if you don't do this.
Yeah, so they go and they're trying to find Carter, and they go in the haunted house and they keep going, have you seen Carter anywhere? And they just keep shaking their heads.
Yeah. Nope. It's a pretty nice looking haunted house. But actually before that, they meet up with the coup. And this is where the coup ultimately learns that Molly's invisible. And Coop's just really scared that Molly's dumping.
Yeah, so he sees Cleo and he's like, Cleo, where's Molly? And she's like, oh, she's sick. Like, you know, she's trying to kind of get him off her case. And he's like, just tell me now, is Molly breaking up with me? Because she's been avoiding me all day.
To let her be happy.
Yeah, he's like, I just want her to be happy. And if it's not with me, then that's okay. And it's like, it's so sweet.
He's just bawling in his costume.
Yeah. And this is where you check the final box. Yes, he for sure respects women. Because he's like, if she wants to break up with me, it's okay as long as she's happy. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, the Coog.
But Molly says, hey, I'm right here. I'm just invisible. And Coog goes, oh, like you can't be hurt?
He's so dumb.
It's not invincible. No,
that's invincible. I'm invisible. Like, I can't be seen. And he's like,
this is very confusing.
He's like, it's so confusing. And then she like picks him up in like a bear hug, you know, and like lifts him off the ground. He goes, see you. So like they do that all the time.
And then they would get his help to be able to get
Carter. Yeah. So it's a really sweet moment, especially because they don't really focus on Molly and Coog's relationship that much, just that he is her boyfriend. So it's sweet seeing them like affectionate towards each other, you know?
Yep. So then they go to the haunted house and George and Coog are going together and trying to find Carter. And no one has seen it, but Nikki and George basically get together and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Nikki's like, where's Molly? I haven't seen her. And he's like, I haven't seen her too.
Yeah, he's like, that wording is confusing.
Yeah. But they talk about it. George's like, this party's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
They flirt really hard with each other. And they basically set him off.
Yeah, because Nikki is like stressed because she's basically planning the whole thing. And she's like, this is wrong and this is wrong. And he's like, no,
this party's awesome.
Incredible. Like, you're doing a really great job. And it's just it's really sweet. And he's like, do you want to like hang out sometime? And she's like, yeah, I would love that. So it's cute. Yeah. He learned to be himself and be nice. And she's nice back. So there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Cleo finds Carter.
Yes. So Cleo's the one to find Carter. He's dressed up as a pot of honey because he thought it was going to be a couple's costume because Molly invited Carter pretending to be Cleo dressed in a bear costume.
Yeah.
So he thought she was going as a bear, but now she's just out of costume. He's like, well, this is kind of dumb.
And he was like kind of mad at first. Yeah. He's kind of mad at first. He's like, where have you been? Like
he is rightfully mad.
Yeah, he's like, you ditched me.
You've been leading me on, but also like so weird about how
you like pushed me away and then you invited me out and then you don't even show up. And now you show up, but you're not in costume. And they kind of like mend fences. Like Cleo's like, I'm sorry. Like the truth is, I like you. I just didn't think you would ever like me.
Basically says I have low self-confidence. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that all makes sense.
Yeah. And then he explains, he's like, I showed up in this honey costume.
I spent all night making it.
Yeah. Because I thought you were going to be a bear and now I feel so dumb. And she's like, what do you mean honey? And he's like, because bears and honey go together. I saw it right away. I'm like, oh my God, he's honey because to match her. It's so cute. He's such a sweet little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cleo's like, okay, we're actually going to be real, a couple. We're going to try this out.
Like, let's go
but
out.
Also, help me fix my sister. And he's like, what's wrong with her? He goes, you should not see for yourself.
Yeah, I'll come not see for yourself. So they go into like a barn, which I think he says like a one line of like, aren't we not allowed in there? Just to let you know, like no one else is going to be in the barn. So they go into the barn and they're like, okay, this is what's happening, Carter. She's invisible. Help us with this organic chemistry.
Yeah, they put a like blanket on her to show that she's invisible. He faints.
Blanket on her and she goes, hi, Carter. It's really funny, actually. Because, yeah, you just have to prove that someone's invisible. But then he's like, this is really complex chemistry, but I think I can do it.
It's only have 45 minutes, so I sure hope so.
Yeah, till midnight. Because remember, that's exactly when she'll be invisible forever.
When there, and if they get it seconds later, it will be too late.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he does it, and then they realize that they need to like redo the experiment, but they can't go back to the lab because there's no time. So it must not be at the school, the party.
Yeah.
It's some other property. I don't know. So they're like, let's just get some supplies around the party, and they like steal shit from people.
They take the funnel on top of the Tin Man's head.
Yeah, and they take like pipes from the organ.
Yeah, let's just go get stuff. Also, let's make some steam and do some stuff, and they're all working so hard.
Yeah, so they realize that like originally it was the steam that turned them off, so they need to get the steam of the anecdote and then convert it back into a liquid, and then she drinks it and it'll work.
Yep, and now there's like 20 seconds left. The teacher is trying to stop them, and she's getting drip by drip the drink. The hope reverses.
Yeah.
And like the clock starts to strike midnight, and we know on the last ding that is going to be midnight.
But then Molly goes, no, Cleo, I had to do something for you first. And then she lets the teacher in.
The teacher who's trying to like figure out what the hell's going on.
Because he's been supervising the party.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, he has to see this so that you get a good grade or something. She lets him in and then like tosses the flower in the air to show that she's invincible, but she's still there. And the teacher's like, what the fuck? And Molly's like, yes, she made me invisible for her science project, and you had to see it because she's so incredible.
And then the clock ends at midnight, and everyone's like, well, guess she's invisible forever.
Well, she drinks it.
And nothing happens.
They're like, no, she's invisible forever. And Cleo's like, Molly, what the fuck? Why would you do that? You missed your opportunity. And she's like, I had to. And the Coup gets sad. It's like, I'll never see your beautiful face again, but we can still have a happy life together, have half invisible kids. Just immediately he is accepting of her being invisible. It's so sweet. I love the Coup. And then Carter brings up a good point, which is just like, hey, your estimate was like really conservative of how long it takes to digest something. I hated that part. He's like, your calculations were conservative. I'm like, I'm sorry. No, they weren't. She drank the bug, the moth, before midnight. Yeah. No, what we're saying is like, if we're being actual to the strict 24-hour time limit, it should have not have been worked no matter when they did it. Because she drank it at like 11:59:30 at the earliest. Yeah. But okay, but Carter is saying what we've been saying the whole time is that's not how the body works. Yeah. She should have a little bit more time than 24 hours. So they're like, you're right. And then they realize that when she drank it originally, she had the ginger fizz. Yep. And so they need that variable back, which I feel like you need it in reverse, but whatever. Maybe that's not how science works. Well, now I'm complaining too. Like, why do they need to make it into a mist just to make it back into a liquid? That does chemical properties. It does change it. Yeah. So they're like, let's just do it exactly how it was done before. And they're like, crap, we need the ginger fizz. Molly, do you have any ginger fizz on you? Never leave home without it. Oh my God, Molly. This is really the time to be carrying around your ginger fizz? Which they say they went home and they changed their clothes. Is that when she grabbed her fucking ginger fizz? She's like, I'm going to need to settle my stomach later. I mean, she might. It's a pretty nervous situation. Yeah, so they do it again. They get more of the anecdote liquid. And she starts to phase back into existence, and she no longer fits the title of the movie.
She's not invisible.
She's a visible sister.
Visible sister coming soon to a DCOM near you.
That's the sequel, is Visible Sister. It's just a normal plot.
And they go, nice to see you again.
And they hug, and it's cute, and they fixed her. Hooray.
Yep. And now it's the epilogue, the resolution.
Which is like very dramatic. And like, you know, they have like the kind of almost slow motion stuff happening with the music and the dramatic voiceover. It's like an interesting style choice to end the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, the teacher was like, do you want to like present your findings? To, like,
I wrote down Coog needs to blow off steam, and I'm trying to figure out what I meant by that.
Coog needs to blow off steam. Was he like too excited that she was back? Or
I don't know. Is it literally the steam that was all in the room?
I don't know.
If someone remembers what that means, I don't want to rewatch the movie to figure it out.
Yeah. But the teacher's like, this is incredible scientific discovery, which it fucking is.
Nikki still doesn't know what's going on. It's like, hey, Molly, where's your costume?
Oh, yeah, but they just gotta leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The teacher invites her, Cleo, to present her findings at like a New Orleans scientific conference.
Yeah.
I feel like the military is really going to want access to this, just saying. They let the moth go, which is pretty dumb in my opinion, because that could totally make someone invisible.
They can just make another moth invisible. They know the experiment now.
But like, they should just keep the moth because they don't want it to get out. That could ruin people's lives.
Only if they drink it with ginger fizz, specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
she presents at the science conference. The parents are back for this scene and this scene only.
And they hug her and everyone's so proud.
The teacher gives her finger guns, which I found funny.
Like, ha, yeah, you did it, girl.
Yeah, Molly and Cleo hug at the conference and everything's so happy. And there's like voiceover that says it's easier to turn from invisible to visible than you think.
Yeah, and then they chose them all at Froyo together.
Yep, and everyone is dating.
Yeah, no, everyone's in a couple because there's Molly and the Coog.
Mm-hmm.
George and Nikki are now dating, and then Cleo and Carter. And those are the only people at Froyo right now. So.
Yep. And then credits roll, and we just see basically the movie again, but in like 1 second per minute.
Yeah, it's basically just recapping little scenes from the movie with a song playing over it, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I prefer the freeze frame.
If you want to know the plot of this movie but don't want to spend more than a minute on it, just watch the credits. That's all you need.
Watch the credits of Invisible Sister. No, I actually recommend watching this movie. I had a good time with this movie. The first time and the second time I've watched it.
It's definitely, where do we put it as a house?
It's a house. We have it at 33.
Yeah.
You have it at 40, and I have it at 35.
Which, that's fine.
All pretty the same.
I think that's...
we have it both in B tier.
Yeah.
Which I agree with.
I agree with B tier. It doesn't do anything special enough really to make it to A tier, but it's close.
It's good. It's good. It has some good funny moments. I think the emotional beats are pretty well done.
There are better ways to spend your time, but it's not a bad movie.
No, I like it. You have the Coog in there, which is DCOM's #1 himbo.
Yeah.
Which I know the swap. Was there also a himbo, or was that just the bully turned?
I think it's just bully. I don't think the bully was really a jock.
No, but he is just another good character I like. So when we get to the swap, I'll talk about him. But #1 himbo of all DCOMs is the Coog. He's exactly what you'd want out of a himbo. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I like the direction they took for the problems the characters were having and how they resolved them. I thought they did well. And, it's 2015, so the movie quality is higher up than some of our earlier movies.
The writing is better than a lot of other movies. Yeah. The acting is good enough. Yeah. There's no performance or anything that I felt like was super distracting. I feel like it's very much what you want. If you were sitting down to watch a Disney Channel original movie, it is exactly what you want it to be, but it's not excellent in any specific aspect.
It's just pretty good quality. It's not a bad one in the bunch at all. Yeah. It's pretty good.
It is very generic good DCOM.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like every character also had a purpose, which is good to see. And every beat, and it is a short movie, which I think helps make every part of the movie like pretty important and worth your while. And not just like, why are they doing this? This is dumb. Like everything had a reason of why it was happening. So that was good.
Yeah. All right. And with that, I think that wraps up our discussion on Invisible Sister.
Yeah, that's Invisible Sister.
If you want to hear more from us, we always do this podcast every other week. We can follow our socials.
Mostly TikTok.
Really, that's the only one that's active. That the DCOM duo. There's underscores in between the and DCOM and duo. Yeah. Other than that, we do this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
YouTube.
So go around there. Please mail to our email, thedcomduo@gmail.com. No underscores in that one. And hope that we hear out from you. We like hearing anything you have to say.
Yeah.
Other than that, the next DCOM that we are watching is expected to be the prom pack.
Yeah.
But before we talk about that, like the way the release schedule of that might be too tight for us to get the podcast out that week.
Yeah, we're for sure going to talk about the prom pack. The question is it going to be the next episode or is it going to be the one after that? So we're going to spin the wheel.
Yeah.
And either we'll do, we're going to watch this movie next on the wheel, I say. It's just, will it be before prom pack or not?
Yes. That's what I don't think we've ever talked about what we're doing here, but we both came up with the same idea.
Yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're going to spin the wheel. It'll come either before or after prom pack. So basically, if you'd like to watch the movies with us, watch the prom pack when it comes out. And watch the movie that we're about to spin right now.
Yes.
And we'll talk about it.
And you'll get to learn in 2 weeks which one we were able to get the episode out first.
It'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're probably going to have a special guest for Prom Pact also.
I would guess we would.
Yeah. We'll keep it a little hush-hush right now, but expect maybe a surprise guest for our new DCOM coming out. But now let's spin the wheel so that we have our backup movie.
All right. Well, first we got to make our predictions. I think it's gonna be Color of Friendship.
Ooh, I think it's gonna be Get a Clue. All right, ready?
Let's go.
Spin. It's Stuck in the Suburbs.
It's Stuck in the Suburbs.
I love Stuck in the Suburbs.
Well, I'm excited because that movie has been needing a rewatch for us for a while.
Stuck in the Suburbs.
Stuck in the Suburbs was the second one we watched for the marathon.
I think so. It was definitely super early.
It was either second or like third.
Yeah.
It was really early.
Because I was pushing.
Probably underrated because
it was so early.
It was so early that we didn't get like our selective camp meters on the same level.
Yeah.
There's a lot that we still reference about Stuck in the Suburbs. That'll be fun.
I'm excited. Okay, so in either 2 weeks or 4 weeks, we'll be talking about Stuck in the Suburbs, and we're also going to talk about Prom Pact. So just be prepared for both episodes. Those are going to be our next 2 episodes, no matter what.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, take care.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, you spent a good time of your life listening to us talk about Invisible Sister, and we thank you for that.
Yeah. And hopefully stick around for more DCOMs.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Scenes from our next episode. Should we don't know anything about the prom.
Okay. Ooh, it looks like a John Hughes movie. But
my God.
The prom, they sure had a pact.
Oh my God, is that Zed from Zombies?
Oh my God, is his name Ben? We saw one trailer for this movie. I'm not sure how we predict what's all going on in it.
Also, maybe it's Stuck in the Suburbs. So, oh my God.
Man, that montage of them. Oh, wow. Is that a fourth flashback montage of the same movie?
Remember the scenes from the movie? Let's put them in another montage.
Is Brenda Song in the most DCOMs?
Oh my God, Jordan Cahill. Wait a minute. Is that Taran Killam?
Why is Taran Killam a teenage heartthrob? That doesn't make sense.
Oh my God, they cut his hair.
Oh my God, they have his phone.
Uh-huh.
Okay, bye.
Stuck in the Suburbs. Bye.